Trump's Truth Social soaring at his stock market debut, ballooning the former president's net worth. The media and Democrats already finding fault in the development, calling the stock a ploy to pad Trump's pockets ahead of expected payment on his $175 million bond.
This sounds like a pump and dump. Wouldn't you, if you were still New York AG, wouldn't you be prosecuting somebody for this?
If you go and buy the stock, let's say from him, you're actually buying from him, and it goes down, if you sell it, you will have a tax loss.
I think that the value is essentially worthless. If they went to market and tried to sell $3 billion, the value of the stock would go to zero practically immediately.
Trump's co-author behind his best-selling book, Art of the Deal, claiming the former president may take foreign funds to pay his legal bills.
He is more than willing to do anything right now. I mean, look at his range of remarks over the last month or two. He is now a gangster. You know, he's a mafia don. He belongs in a prison.
Jesse, the liberal litigators made President Trump much more wealthy. It's like an own goal.
It's karma, Jessica.
Yep.
And it's so funny the Democrats have been bragging about Biden's stock market. And now they're like, oh, it's a ploy. The whole stock market's a ploy. And Joy Reid wants to investigate Trump, but not Nancy Pelosi. Talk about a pump and dump. Nancy and Paulie P have been pumping and dumping their whole lives. Pillow talk. All of a sudden, he happens to know exactly when and where to sell and what to buy.
Yep.
Just happens to be his wife's the Speaker of the House. Come on, Jessica. The whole market is a pump and dump. Eventually, stock market's going to correct, and everybody on the inside is going to sell, and everybody else is going to be sitting here like, what just happened? This is the way life is. What do you think the Clinton Foundation was? Clinton Foundation was 1,000 times worse than Truth Social going public. It's listed on a stock exchange. It's got transparency. Instead, the Clinton Foundation just goes to the Saudis while she's Secretary of State and says, pay up. They give her $20 million and they use it on their daughter's wedding.
25.
Come on, Jessica. The whole thing is a scam.
She didn't take $2 billion like Jared Kushner.
The whole thing is a scam. The Clintons don't even know what business is. They just know how to fleece it.
Jessica, have you scored on yourselves?
I don't think so. Just also Charity Navigator has a very high rating for the Clinton Foundation. Listen, I have always said this. Donald Trump gets really lucky.
Oh,
this is
what it is?
Of course.
Oh, it's the genius of Truth Social that has under 500,000 users through the last 9 months of 2023.
What have you built, Jessica?
Yeah.
Here we go.
I mean,
Are you guys kidding me?
How many companies?
No, I mean, I'm always interested. I love it when people who have a media footprint pretend to know how things are built. I don't know how things are made.
No, but I
don't know
that
anything about how
I
things
know
are
that
made.
when something is doing well,
He's
that people
lucky, I
want
get
to
it,
be
yeah.
on it.
Look at all these buildings.
And when things
lucky. He's
No,
lucky.
Yeah. He was a billionaire before this stock
Yeah,
hit.
he was. He had $2
should have
billion,
just
and now he has
invested it in a
6.5 or
savings
whatever.
account.
Okay.
Yeah, and,
Anyway,
you know what? And the government tried to take his money from him. They
I
want to
have
lock
lost
him up. They
control.
want his money. And now they're furious because he's making money on his own. And you know what? It's poetic justice. Good for him.
It's great poetry. So in the last 9 months of 2023, Truth Social generated $3.4 million, and it lost $49 million in that span. The valuation, which is $11 billion, compared to Reddit, right? Something that we've all been on, right? Something that people use.
I don't.
Okay, you're on Truth Social, but not on Reddit. Anyway, their valuation was $6.4 billion. So you think that a site that has less than 500,000 users, I mean, this is what, these are
lost more money?
facts.
Electric car companies.
It's pathetic.
This is pathetic. The man, look,
Bringing Reddit into this conversation.
It's born
Because it's
of
other
hatred,
companies that just had
hatred,
IPOs.
All these valuations are ridiculous, Jessica.
Okay, then he's the game. It's like GameStop,
Okay,
right? It's
you know what?
No?
You know
Well, it's
how you
actually
look
not,
at this?
because
You
I'm using
look
it.
at this.
Oh, you're on Truth Social?
I'm on Truth
Show
Social.
it to me.
I'm not having you look at my phone.
Show me your phone.
How dare you, you
Show
fed.
me.
You're a fed.
Wow, Greg, I have lost total control. Do you want to comment?
No, but I mean, no offense, Jessica, but the critics who go
Oh,
after...
the offense has already been taken.
Okay, the critics who go after whether it is Trump or Elon Musk or any capitalist or anybody who builds things, it's just it's funny to me because just because you're in the media or somebody once called you an expert or you showed up 4 times on CNBC to talk about stocks, somehow you know what somebody's doing. I want to know if this is a scam. Tell me who's being ripped off. Who's involuntarily investing in this? Tell me about the illegality of it, all right? It's funny coming from people who push things like Air America or BLM or DEI, who support the climate agreements or the UN or the actual election of Biden. You want to scam? This guy pawned himself off as a moderate unifier. Not a chance. Talk about pump and dump. That's Biden's life. He's one big pump and dump. But this is gonna play out as a movie, right? We're in the third act. It feels like the remake of Roadhouse, but even better, because you have all these elites in power joining in to throw out the outsider who has somehow slowed their progress to domination, and they can't handle it.
All right, Judge.
All right, this whole thing is born of the hatred and the contempt of the left. Okay, the progressive lefts. The man was literally thrown off of Twitter. He was forced to start his own social network, and he did. And you know what? The Dems deserve it. The sad part about this whole thing is that the Democrats have literally made him richer. They've made him more powerful. And the Democrats, through their hatred, are going to make him president of the United States. They are incapable of looking at themselves in the mirror and say, I hate this man. I unfriended all my friends and family in 2016 when he was elected. Because who did Donald Trump kill? I mean, what is the problem? The man has signed the front of checks for his whole career, and now all of a sudden, what did he build? What didn't he build? What hasn't he done?
I do want to add one other thing to that, which is, so he gets kicked off these other social medias, he creates his own. And then what happens is the media is so addicted to covering him that what they do is they take his Truth Social posts. They're not necessarily on Truth Social, but they take those and they put them on television or in the newspaper, giving him earned media.
Yep.
So who's smarter?
Click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis. You won't get it anywhere else.